Hey guys, welcome back to Verified Gains. If you're interested in cryptocurrency, Solana, and or PopCat, please make sure to subscribe and keep up with our weekly updates about cryptocurrency. So let's dive right into the charts. Since about a week ago when my last video was made, we've made tremendous progress. We're currently making all-time high around $119,000 for the price of Bitcoin, which is very exciting. So let's dive right in. Um, last time we were sort of looking at this white trend line, which I said, okay, it'll be very interesting to see if we hold it and break above it. Now, what happened right afterwards was that there was actually a little bit of a trap over here being set for both the bull and the bear. So, for example, if you're a bull, then, once we broke through this trend line to the downside, it may have triggered a stop loss. And if that was the case, it would have been a very unfortunate event. And as you can see over here, the next day, the candle did form beneath the white trend line. However, it was also a bear trap because soon afterwards, we actually resumed above and consolidated above with a giant green candle plus 4%. And we, stayed above it. So at this point, it was a very, good thing for the bulls. So the bulls won. I'm just going to get rid of that trend line now. At this point, we're in price discovery mode. So I made add another support line to say, hey, look, so, our new support line is going to be around $110,000. However, now we're in price discovery mode. We're in a territory never discovered before, so quite exciting. And for this, we do have to turn the pi cycle top indicator to get a general gauge of where we stand. So number one, we look at the pi cycle top indicator. So we can see that, okay, we're sort of midway in between the 111-day moving average and the 350-day moving average times 2. Well, not quite midway, but we're getting there, right? So midway would be around 130,000, but this is where we stand. Number two, we look at the timeline. Okay, so our timeline that I've previously proposed was September 15th, so we're about 2 months away roughly, and that's another thing that we're going to take a look at. Okay, all right. So in terms of the timeline, we're also looking good in that department. And then number three, and this I talked about it last time, is one of my new strategies, which is looking at the RSI 90. And right now, if you just sort of pay attention to that, let me see if we can maximize it. Okay, so RSI of 90, we're just about, around 54, 55. And like I've mentioned previously, my expectation is for it to reach around 70. And that would give me another indicator, another idea as to if we're really near the Bitcoin cycle top. So I'm going to continue reviewing these three metrics on a weekly basis just to keep you guys updated in terms of my proposed Bitcoin cycle top and when I plan to, convert or capitalize on some of my assets. Um, and by the way, let's talk a little bit about macro. I know, different channels, different influencers are talking about, the bills, politics regarding cryptocurrency in general, trying to look at the M2 money supply, et cetera, et cetera. I personally want to just maybe give another point of view, which is regarding the federal interest rate. And I think the general consensus is that, once there is as an interest rate cut, then that is going to be bullish for markets across the board, including traditional equities market. I'm going to, go one step further and say that, you know, remember, the Fed chair did propose that we're going to see two rate cuts by the end of this year. And we don't have too many opportunities left in regards to when they're going to make that announcement. So, the first one could be end of July, around July 30th, so in about 2 weeks, although a lot of analysts are saying that is less likely. Okay. And if that is the case, then we'll have three more opportunities. Once in September, once in October, and once in December. Now, traditionally, usually, it would either be September or December. Um, so we're gonna have to see if that is going to be the case. And the reason I mentioned this is not because, previously I said, okay, we really need to see an actual announcement of the rate cut to be sure, but I actually thought about this and I disagree. What I'm proposing is that at this point, I believe people are starting to price it in, meaning, okay, I mean, think about it. So it's almost guaranteed in a way that we're going to see two rate cuts by the end of this year. And we realistically only have four, in reality, two real opportunities in September and December. So in July, if they hold the interest rate steady, then we can kind of assume that, okay, they're definitely going to announce it either in September or December. And for some odd reason, if it does not happen to be September, then it's going to be October, then December. So either ways, at this point, really all we're expecting is for the market to go up because the rate cuts are going to be announced if, he keeps his promises. And if that is the case, then there's really, after July 30th, there's really no reason for the markets to just hold the steady pace. I think we're going to see some, extreme price movements towards the upside because the markets are starting going to price in the rate cuts. So we don't really have to wait until the actual announcements. I think we're going to start seeing those price actioning happening very soon. And to be quite honest with you, perhaps, this recent movement to the upside is a reflection of the markets pricing that in. Okay, so next, I just want to highlight some points for Solana and PopCat, just to make sure that we're on the same page. So in terms of Solana, we held above 148 very proudly, resuming towards 180. So we're gonna have to see some volume once everybody's back tomorrow. However, over the weekend, we're doing pretty good. Consolidating above 160. That is a good price to be in. However, I'm really expecting us to get back to 180 this coming week. Last but not least, PopCat, since last time. Very similar pattern to Bitcoin, where there's a little bit of a bull and a bear trap. However, survived, resumed upwards, and now actually consolidated above 35 cents, which was my previous resistance line. So let's go ahead and flip that to a support line. And with the resumption upwards from the consolidation phase, things are looking very good. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this trend line because no longer applicable. And at this point, we're trying to get back to the most recent high, which is around 55 cents. And once we get past 55 cents, then we're going to have to really track back towards the previous all-time high around $2. So still a lot of work to be done, but things are looking very bullish. So I hope, everybody's on the same page. And please subscribe and like, if you're interested in staying up to date with these news. Again, thanks for watching and thanks for listening in. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.